Ja Morant, I want to see him.
He's special.
You're not going to stop him.
We see the vision, we see the court IQ, we see the athleticism.
Here comes Ja Morant. One of the most explosive players in college basketball.
This guy has crazy athletic ability. He has star power written all over him.
Fearless, dynamic, shifty, explosive, and loaded with swagger, Ja Morant stole the spotlight during his sophomore campaign, leading Murray State to the NCAA tournament while winning over seemingly every front office in the league. Morant shares quite a few physical attributes with Kings standout De'Aaron Fox. While both are quick-twitch athletes with impressive burst and head-at-the-rim bounce, their body types, height, and wingspans are nearly identical, even if Morant is slightly older at the same stage. An unheralded recruit, late bloomer, who fine-tuned his game with late night after late night training with his father T on their homemade backyard court. Jumping on tires, defensive slides with resistance, and jump shot after jump shot, Morant put in tireless hours of work both in Dalzell and once he got to Murray, Kentucky. And his unique path up until this point has resulted in a hungry, ultra-confident point guard with effortless athleticism and a tremendous overall feel for the game. Morant loves the spotlight, plays off the crowd, yet has the type of court sense and vision every shooter, athlete, or big man would love to play alongside. Morant's rise from relative unknown to potential number 2 pick in the 2019 NBA draft is just the beginning, as he has the tools, skills, and self-confidence to develop into a perennial all-star in the face of a franchise. One of the most dynamic athletes in all of college basketball, Ja Morant terrorized teams in the open court, pushing with pace, shifting gears on a dime, and finishing emphatically in traffic. No player in the draft changes ends quite like Morant, and with transition making up 29% of his offense at Murray State, whoever drafts him better get ready to run. For as fast as he is, Morant is equally as bouncy, a head-at-the-rim leaper who skies off 2 feet for lobs unlike any other point guard in the draft. The wiry Morant puts shot blockers on poster after poster, regularly uncoiling his springs after losing defenders with back cuts. His slogan, "Jump with me if you want to go viral," held true all season, as he embarrassed a handful of defenders at the rim. Morant is extremely shifty in the half court as well, rarely needing a ball screen to get into the teeth of the defense. He unleashes the right-to-left cross-jab move that Russell Westbrook popularized, freezing defenders as he shifts gears violently, going left, his more dominant hand as a driver. Morant plays slow to fast as well as any guard in the draft, making him nearly impossible to keep in front at the collegiate level. Whether it's with sweeping crossovers or behind-the-back combo moves, Morant has the ball on a string and gets to his spots despite not having the most intimidating frame. He torches pick-and-roll drop coverages using similar moves like his patented cross jab, and slow-footed bigs don't stand a chance. He's a creative left-hand finisher with same foot, same hand finesse as well. He's comfortable breaking down bigs after switches and should be a nightmare cover with NBA spacing. Although known for his top-end speed and pop at the rim, Morant led the nation in assists and has an outstanding feel for the game, which comes out most in the open court. He loves quick hit-aheads through the air, but is at his best when he's pushing aggressively and hitting shooters in stride. He whips the ball all over the floor with his left hand off a live dribble, finding shooters and rewarding bigs. 31% of his total assists came in the open court, and he incentivizes teammates to get out and run thanks to his unselfish nature and creativity. He toys with defenders in early offense situations, keeping his dribble alive, probing the defense, and delivering no-look drop-offs for easy layups. Because he's so dynamic, putting pressure on the rim as a scorer, that forces defenses to corral him early and often, opening up opportunities for his teammates. While at his best in the open court, Morant can make almost every ball screen read necessary to run a team at a high level in the NBA. As you can see him go through his progression here, he sees that weak side wing hugging the shooter in the corner, telling him that the big will be wide open at the rim, and Morant delivers the one-handed pass on the money. Then when that weak side wing starts to come off the corner to help on the roller, Morant is able to zip a left-handed pass to the shooter with outstanding timing. Few guards in the NBA make this pass with regularity, and Morant will quickly be on that list. At 6'3", Morant also has adequate size to see over the top of the defense and hit the roll man in stride. He's able to slither into the teeth of the defense by splitting ball screens as well before kicking out to shooters. Morant's combination of live dribble passing, vision, and dynamic shot creation ability figures to make him a nearly impossible cover at the NBA level, so long as his jumper is falling. After making only 29% of his threes and 9 total pull-ups as a freshman, Morant has evolved into a much more reliable shooter, increasing his percentage to 37% and looking much more comfortable when defenses go under ball screens. With natural touch and unwavering confidence at his disposal, Morant isn't afraid to line one up from well beyond the arc, and does have some comfortability on spot-ups, playing quite a bit off the ball as a freshman. Morant's greatly improved shooting stroke is a huge reason why he was able to nearly double his scoring average, jumping up to 24.7 points per game on 62% true shooting. While slight with some bad habits to squash, Morant has the quick feet and instincts to become a plus defender at the NBA level as his body matures. He carried a huge offensive load for Murray State, which showed in his defensive effort. But having seen him lock up some of the nation's top guards at CP3 camp in the summer, there's little question about whether or not Morant is capable. He can recover to blocks at the rim or use his quick hands to dig at the ball when one pass away. He has instincts to make plays in the passing lanes, as he finished last season with 1.7 steals and 0.9 blocks per 40 minutes. As has been the case since he was a youngster, Morant is wired to shine when the lights are brightest. He dragged a so-so Murray State team to the NCAA tournament with his play and made big shot after big shot against high major opponents over the course of the season, looking calm, cool, and collected under pressure. Even at 170 pounds dripping wet, Morant doesn't shy away from a challenge or contact in the lane, something his teammates and coaches will quickly be drawn to wherever he goes. While more than capable given his athletic gifts, Morant has a long way to go on the defensive end. Not only is he slight of build, but he picked up quite a few bad habits as a sophomore given the load he had to carry on the offensive end. On the ball, Morant is far from the pest he could be, especially in pick and roll. He's lifeless in his stance at times, making no effort to get back and contest, even if the scouting report says to go under the screen. Morant can do a much better job of directing the ball as well, either sending the guard to his weak hand or dictating what the ball handler needs to do rather than giving him freedom to go wherever he chooses. Morant gets blasted on a screen here because he's completely upright, offering no ball pressure or indication of how he's planning to defend the guard. Here it looks like Ja is trying to ice the ball screen, even if the big isn't in position, but he allows the ball to get back middle, a pet peeve for most NBA coaches. Overall, he can do a much better job of navigating ball screens rather than dying at the sight of contact, allowing the guard to drag out the big, get a switch, and create an easy opportunity. In isolation and closeout situations, Morant needs to crank up the intensity as well. He's far too willing to get beat off the dribble, regularly giving opponents a runway, only to take a swipe at the ball on the way by. While he comes up with occasional steals, he hangs his teammates out to dry more often than not. There are questions about how the wiry Morant will hold up against switches. Teams are likely to hunt him in pick and roll, putting him in ball screens in hopes of getting a mismatch on the block. In a league that covets switchability, Morant has yet to prove he can check more than one position at the next level. Off the ball, Morant is far too relaxed in his stance. Now, he doesn't always get burned, and part of that is because Murray State often shifted between man and zone, but ramping up his activity and energy level off the ball will be a priority for Ja, as teams are likely to exploit that early on in his NBA career. Although he's a gifted passer, Morant also led the nation in turnovers with 5.3 per game. He can be far too lackadaisical with his deliveries, lofting passes that simply aren't there. Ja can be a little bit of a flash over substance player as well, always going for the home run play rather than the simple one. He'll wildly try to split ball screens when there's no opening or whip no-look passes around rather than making the basic kickout. Morant gets too cute with his handle at times as well, pounding the ball rather than moving it and getting the offense into a rhythm. There are questions about just how efficient of a scorer Morant can be in year one, in part due to his pull-up jumper. While improved, his low release point makes him much easier to contest. He shoots a set shot from most spots on the floor and hasn't been overly prolific, creating space to get to his pull-up against athletes. Morant doesn't have much of a middle game either, and you can see here he's just not all that comfortable bouncing out with step backs or creating a window to get to his pull-up jumper. If his jumper isn't falling, Morant does have the shifty nature to get into the paint, but he lacks a consistent floater to neutralize shot blockers at this stage of his development. In 61 collegiate games, Morant converted only 14 of 50 floaters, a really low number for a lead guard. While contact wasn't much of an issue in college, he figures to get knocked offline by more physical defenders and will have his hurdles adjusting to NBA length and contact in the paint. Lastly, Morant needs to be much more of a threat when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. It's a multi-ball handler league, and far too often he was caught standing around outside of threat zones, watching the action when he wasn't the primary option. Staying engaged off the ball on both ends of the floor is a priority for Ja moving forward.
I think he'll be more ready to deal with the NBA than a lot of guys.
He's Russell Westbrook. I mean, Ja Morant's the real deal.
His game in an NBA team, he will be an instant dynamic player to come in and change a franchise.
He's just been phenomenal. He makes everyone around him better.
He can average double-digit assists, he makes sound decisions, and he can shoot the basketball.
And I think he lifts everybody up.
Having played the majority of his 60 collegiate games in the Ohio Valley Conference, Morant still has to prove himself consistently against NBA competition. Is his improved shooting for real? Can he take care of the ball and make the right reads as the game slows down and he's not out in transition? How will his body develop? How will he react now that he's no longer in a small town like Dalzell or Murray, Kentucky? While all those questions are worth pondering, Morant has exceeded expectations every step of the way up until this point. He's a hoops junkie with far more basketball intellect than he gets credit for, as it's often the highlight dunks stealing the headlines. With the hand check rules and up-tempo style of today's NBA, Morant is the ideal lead guard to hand the keys to, as he checks virtually every box teams are looking for in a superstar point guard.
I just play with a chip on my shoulder, and all my hard work is now paying off.